I'm jittery. This is the first time ever publicly that I will talk about my ectopic pregnancy that I went through October 2014, and the date was actually either October 15th, 2014 or October 16th, 2014. The dates are kind of wishy-washy because at the time I didn't want to think about it after it happened. Like I just wanted to my best, or at least try my best. So I thought to forget everything. And yeah, here we go with retelling this story now. With I can feel everything. It feels like it's fresh. It feels like it's new. But I know me getting this story out is helping someone that may have gone through it or that's currently experiencing it. And so when I had my ectopic pregnancy, before I knew what it was and before everything happened, I just said a whole bunch of stuff in a circle. Bear with me, I'm so nervous. Okay, so before finding out I was pregnant, I had the worst attitude ever. I remember for like a week or two straight, I was just at work complaining. I was working third shift and I was so cranky and was complaining like, I hate this job. I hate being here. Like I was just so negative. And I was talking to a coworker, and then something told me one day, go take a pregnancy test. And I was at my older cousin's house, and I'm telling her how I was feeling. She's like, come on, let's go take a pregnancy test. So she's all excited about it. I wasn't excited about it because this is also a lesson learned. Our relationship was over with, and it was just a one-time thing that I figured like, okay, well, this is gonna be casual. This is a one-time thing. I'm done with the situation anyway. Lo and behold, that's how our baby was made. So she's excited. She's like, come on, let's go take this pregnancy. Let's go get a pregnancy test. So we leave. We go to Dollar General. We go to Dollar General. She's excited while I'm checking out. I'm looking at her like, okay, calm down, because no, I'm not pregnant. So we get the test. We go to her house. I take the test. Waiting felt like forever. Lo and behold, 30-year-old me is pregnant. So it comes out I'm pregnant. I'm like, no, I was not happy about it. And I'm like, no, there's something wrong with this test. That day, I took 5 different pregnancy tests. The cheap brand, the expensive brand, whatever they had, I wanted all of them. All of them still came back positive. I called my best friend. I called her before I even called the father. I called my best friend. I was crying. This is the part when I'm saying it's a lesson learned of is not anything casual about sex. So I called my best friend. I'm crying. I'm like, I'm pregnant, and I'm just saying like, because I didn't want the situation, like me and that person was done and over with. Like I didn't want no connection. It wasn't no bad blood or anything, but we just wasn't a fit for each other, and I just wanted to be done. So I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant. I'm crying like, no, this can't be happening. So after time going on, maybe like a couple days or a week, that's when I started to feel joy. Like, you know what? This is going to be my love. Someone that's going to love me forever. Okay, so I went a week of like actually being happy about it. I made a cute little post on Facebook, and I called my OB, which she was fairly my new OB at the time. So I called to schedule an appointment. We set up the appointment. I go to my appointment. They're telling me that they don't do those type of appointments, which it was just for me to get checked out and retest my pregnancy. So they're telling me like, well, we don't do those. We thought you was here for your annual. It was so unprofessional. The experience was terrible. But before this appointment, I remember I was having pain, and I didn't know what it was, and I never felt this pain before. So, and I probably told some bits and pieces out of order. But before I went to that appointment, because of the pain, I said, okay, let me start looking some stuff up. I don't even remember what I typed in or how it even popped up, but the first thing that popped up was ectopic pregnancy. So it started giving me certain symptoms, and then things about your blood and the color. So going back to my doctor's appointment, they finally went ahead. They checked me. When she checked me, the cotton swab was saturated with dark blood. Soon as I saw how dark the blood was from me reading up the day before, in my mind, I'm saying this is an ectopic pregnancy. But my OB is still telling me that I'm not pregnant. Even though I just took a pregnancy test there too, she's still telling me that I'm not pregnant. The next day, I went to work. I'm missing a point. Later on that night, like I could not sleep. I was crying. I was up to like 7 in the morning. My big cousin, she was up with me too till like 4 o'clock in the morning. She went to CVS to try to give me something to soothe me. Like I just could not. I don't know how to explain this pain. It was like something shot up my spine. Like it was so unbearable. It was terrible. So I still ended up going to work the next day. So as I'm sitting down, I'm working, and all of a sudden, I just feel something like, I'm about to say lightning, but like we know what lightning felt like. But it's something that just shot up my spine. And I'm like, okay, so I stood up, and I didn't know to stand or to stoop a little bit, like to sit down, but I couldn't move. It was so unbearable. So called my team leader over, and I'm like, I really got to use the bathroom. But then me put myself second, well, last, I'm like, okay, I know everybody be abusing the bathroom breaks. I don't want her to come over here for nothing if it's not an emergency. And I didn't announce to anyone that I was pregnant outside the father, my best friend, and my older cousin. So I didn't want to tell her what it was. So I'm like, can I go to the bathroom? Can I go to the bathroom? I didn't tell her what it was, but I could tell how I was standing a little bit because I wasn't standing up all the way. I was kind of hunched over. She could tell I was in pain. And I just told her, like, can you please call my cousin? Because my older cousin worked there as well. So I'm like, can you please just call my cousin? So I try to go to the bathroom. So I go in the bathroom. I'm thinking, like, okay, well, maybe I got to do a number 2. Maybe that's what it is. All I remember, I tried to sit down. I can't remember if I even made it to sit down. All I know is I woke up. I was on the bathroom floor. My supervisor was around me. My older cousin, she was there. And next thing I know, I was being rushed to the emergency room. When we get in the emergency room, I was kind of dizzy in and out a little bit, and they checked everything, what they needed to check. And long story short, they just said, you have ectopic pregnancy, you had a cyst on your ovaries and it ruptured, and we have to do immediate surgery. I didn't have no say so in saving my baby. As soon as they told me the things, don't you do this on me. As soon as they told me, as soon as they said ectopic, I already knew just from reading up the day before. So they're like, we have to do emergency surgery. So I broke down, and now I'm missing a part of the story. So before all of that, the first couple of days when I was in my haste of not being happy about it, I was crying about it. And I was crying like, I don't want this baby. Like, I don't want this baby. I don't want to deal with this for the rest of my life. Not saying like I don't want to be a mother, but I didn't want to be connected to that situation. Like, I didn't want to have that extraness. I didn't want it. So when all this happened, after the fact, I blamed myself. Like, because I kept saying I didn't want this baby. Because I kept saying I didn't want this baby, it was taken away from me. I blamed myself because I was fornicating. Like, God knew how I really wanted my life to go. Like, I always say I want to be married first when I had my first child, but I'm saying that, but I was fornicating. Basically, that's what it was. So after all of that was said and done, I felt I felt terrible. As soon as after the surgery, when I woke up, I honestly felt like they scared me um, onto getting on to the depot shot. I never believed in birth control. I always felt like it's not good for your body. So they just told me like, well, if you get pregnant again, it's a possibility it's gonna be the same thing, or the baby just not gonna live. So they just automatically told me I was high risk. They never told me why. But one of my fallopian tubes, only have one tube, only have one tube. So they did have to remove one because I had a cyst and it ruptured. So they're like, yeah, if you get pregnant again, it's gonna be high risk. The baby not gonna make it, or maybe an ectopic. And I'm still kind of drugged up. Like I just don't know what to do. So I agree with it. But I only got the shot that one time. So this whole time, like I was off of work for 2 weeks. I could have taken more time off, but I didn't want to. And now thinking back on it, it was like I rushed myself into back into the world when I knew like I was falling apart. Like I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it. I felt alone. I felt scared. I still was blaming myself. I didn't have a community because I didn't know anyone that ever experienced that. Um, then I finally found the group on Facebook. So I never wrote in the group, but I used to read other people's stories that make me feel like some type of connection. And really, pretty much most of this, like I blocked out a lot because it was a lot to deal with. And I remember after that, I had to keep having appointments, and the nurse asked me if I wanted to see the ultrasound. I said no, I didn't want to see the ultrasound. So as time went on, basically everyone went back to their regular lives, and it was like my life was still at a standstill. So after my surgery, like the first 2 weeks, I couldn't take care of myself. Like I couldn't walk for real. I was supposed to get help, like cleansing myself, and I didn't. I didn't have that help, so it was kind of like I didn't have no choice. I had to force myself. Like it hurt, but I gotta do it. And I just want to tell you, if you ever experience this or you currently going through it, like don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. Um, you're not alone. I thought I was alone because I never heard of it, but I blamed myself. I blamed myself for a long time. I was ashamed, one, because I wasn't married, and then two, I didn't want my story to be out because I wasn't ready. I couldn't talk about it. Going to stores was triggering, seeing babies was triggering. Even now, sometimes it can still come back because I don't forget like the holidays. I don't forget birthdays. I don't forget Christmas. I don't forget all the little things that children would love to do. There's something else that I'm missing that I wanted to say. Oh, I couldn't even walk in the store down the baby aisle. I couldn't see baby clothes. Like it's just it's just triggering, but it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. All this the other part that I'm missing. I was so ashamed to where I didn't want anyone to really know my story or talk about it because I didn't want my future husband to feel like, oh well, she can't have kids, so she's bad fruit. And that was my train of thought because I didn't know much about it. I don't feel that way anymore. I hope this story helps someone because I know it was all over the place. It took a lot for me to say this. Yeah, but it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. And this may be hidden for someone, and this was also hidden for me. And it was tough telling this. And I know when I get up here, I'm like, I missed this part. I missed that part. But it's out now, and you're not alone. There is a community out there, and if you don't know anything about an ectopic pregnancy or miscarriage, please get informed about it because sometimes people can say some cruel things without knowing that it's cruel. And just because you're not carrying the baby in your arms does not mean that you're not a mommy because I'm an angel mommy. I'm claiming it, and that's what it is. It's not your fault.